Guess where we're going?
I've got to shop Grand Union.
Everything's so fresh.
They've got such variety.
Grand Union. Those red hot specials. Grand Union.
It's where I want to be.
This week's specials: Brandywine Party Wings, buy one, get one free. Pepsi-Cola soft drinks, buy one, get one free. Ragu spaghetti sauce, buy one, get one free. And Surf laundry detergent, buy one, get one free.
There's a lot to love at Grand Union.
3 years ago, Grand Union promised to match the day-in, day-out prices of Price Chopper, and we promised to do it forever. Remember? Grand Union still matches Price Chopper, still proves it with the Price Finder every week, and we've added the best weekly specials in Grand Union history. We've added service butcher shops, fresh seafood, never frozen, fresh from scratch bakeries, the world's best delis. We're making another promise come true, only the best, always for less. Take a good look at the new Grand Union. It just gets better.
Have you ever dreamed of a food store that had a complete takeout restaurant featuring not one food specialty, but many, including Oriental, Italian, and Tex-Mex? One of the biggest in-store production bakeries in the world, an in-store tortilla bakery, and a bagel production area, all capable of producing the finest baked goods you've ever seen. An automatic juice machine capable of making millions of gallons of fresh juice a year. A complete video store with more than 2,200 titles. And in addition to all this wonderful food, a specially designed parking lot with 10-foot wide parking spaces to protect customer cars. Roller Communications Associates, equipped with roller skates. Well, that's just the beginning for our company's newest food center, a 65,000 square foot food store of the future that exists now in Kingston, New York. The store was 2 years in the making and
Welcome to Health Beat. I'm Rosemary Hopkins. On today's edition, we'll demonstrate the latest techniques used by supermarket cashiers to help prevent on-the-job fatigue, muscle strain, and other more serious injuries. Your job as a cashier requires repetitive hand motions like bending, turning, and gripping. If these movements are done in the wrong position or too forcefully, it can lead to fatigue or repetitive strain. Research has shown that in order to reduce the incidence of on-the-job injuries, it is necessary to adjust the way we perform our jobs and even the equipment we use. This science, called ergonomics, is constantly being updated as we learn more about how to prevent these injuries. If unchecked, incorrect work habits at the front end can lead to CTD, cumulative trauma disorder, which affects the body's ability to work comfortably, and CTS, carpal tunnel syndrome, which is caused by repetitive improper wrist movement. In the field is our Health Beat reporter, Joan Alexander. Joan, what are you finding out there?
Rosemary, I'm here at a local Grand Union store, and with me is Bob Doman, General Manager. Bob, what are some of the major causes of cashier stress-related injuries?
Well, Joan, some of the major causes are improper lifting techniques, like reaching over the counter to place a full bag of groceries in the customer's cart, or when improperly lifting bales of bags used to replenish front-end supply. Improper reaching, like stretching too far to reach for a product on the belt. Improper turning and twisting, like turning your body abruptly to begin bagging or twisting your wrists to locate the UPC on the products. These mistakes, when repeated over and over, can cause a cashier pain and discomfort and can lead to permanent injury.
So, Bob, what are some of the ways that cashiers can adjust their work habits to avoid these problems?
Well, Joan, let's begin with hand and wrist problems. Cashiers can help prevent these by using safe wrist and hand positions while scanning and by trying to minimize the force and reduce repetitive motions. Your hands and wrists bend up and down and sideways. You should try and keep your wrist in a straight or neutral position as much as possible while checking out. This puts the least amount of strain on your muscles, tendons, and nerves. Your hands and fingers are used to grip and lift items, using your whole hand, the power grip, instead of just your fingers, the pinch grip. This puts less force and strain on your hands and wrists. Holding your hands and wrists in awkward positions and applying too much force or gripping items improperly puts extra pressure on nerves, muscles, or tendons. You can't avoid repetition altogether. It's simply part of the job. However, you can take steps to minimize some of these repetitive motions and their effects.
Bob, when actually scanning groceries, what are the key points to preventing problems?
Joan, you should keep your hands and wrists in a neutral, unbent position whenever possible. Try not to extend, flex, or twist your wrists while scanning. Wait for items to come to you. Don't reach for them. Use the power grip, not the pinch grip, when handling items. Key in large items instead of scanning them. Drag rather than lift heavy items across the scanner. Learn where the UPC code is located on various products. Ask to see the rescue videotape to help you learn the UPC locations. Knowing where the UPCs are by heart will help to eliminate twisting and turning when trying to locate a code. If needed, turn products while they are on the check stand to look for the UPC label, rather than lifting the item up from the counter and twisting and turning your wrist. Pick up and pass items from one hand to another to help alternate the use of your hands. Key in multiple purchases of a single item. This will save scanning motions. Release items that will roll or slide to the rear deck from the neutral shoulder position. This means keeping your shoulders in line with your waist as much as possible. Items that will not roll or slide should be moved to the rear deck 2 or 3 at a time after they've been checked. Turn and face the rear of the check stand when lifting or pushing items to the rear. This will minimize twisting. Keep the scanning plate clean. This reduces repeat scans.
Very good, Bob. In the area of bagging, what's the latest info on how to bag so as to minimize cashier discomfort?
Joan, start by using the proper technique for filling your station with manageable quantities of bags. Bend at the knees when lifting and keep your back straight. Use the bagging platform. This reduces lifting your arms and shoulders up over the height of the bag. If you are ever required to retrieve bales of bags, be sure to utilize proper lifting techniques whenever loading and unloading them onto and off of U-boats and double-decker carts. Square your body to the bagging platform. This means keeping your shoulders straight in front of the bag to minimize twisting. Use 2 hands to bag heavy items. Don't bend, twist, or reach for items that are in the corner of the rear deck. Move your feet and turn your body before reaching. Don't reach over the counter to place bags into the customer's cart. Bags should be passed over to the customer. If the customer chooses not to accept the bag in this manner, the cashier should walk around to the opposite side of the checkout, pick up the bag using the proper lifting techniques, and place it in the shopping cart. Don't grab the filled bag from the top by holding it with a pinch grip. A pinch grip is one in which your thumb and forefinger are pinched together. This puts severe pressure on your hands and wrist. Instead, use the power grip, in which you grab the bag from the bottom and lift it up with both hands. This is the safest and most comfortable procedure to use when lifting a full bag of groceries.
Bob, what should a cashier do if he or she does feel pain?
Joan, all of these factors will help you to avoid any hand or wrist injuries. However, if you do experience any pain or discomfort, these may be symptoms of repetitive strain. You should report these to your manager, who may recommend that you see a doctor.
Well, thanks a lot, Bob, for joining us on HealthBeat and sharing your valuable insight. Back to you, Rosemary.
Thanks, Joan. That was an informative report on the most recent developments in preventing cashier stress-related injuries. Join us next time on HealthBeat when we'll focus on another fast-breaking health issue. I'm Rosemary Hopkins for HealthBeat. Good day.
Your Job. On our show today, you will have a chance to call in and identify the profession of today's special guest. You will then get an opportunity to ask him any questions you may have. The number to call is 1-800-YOUR-JOB. Here's some clues. While on the job, our special guest deals with hundreds of people daily. He has to be an expert at customer service, must operate state-of-the-art machinery, and follow strict sanitary guidelines. Okay, well, the phone lines are open, and we have our first caller. Hello, who are we speaking with?
Hi, I'm Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Where are you calling from?
From Fair Lawn, New Jersey.
Well, Cindy, go ahead and try to identify our mystery guest's job.
Do you work in a hospital?
No, Cindy, that's not it. Next caller.
Hi, my name is Jason. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, Jason. Go for it.
Oh, I'll guess that you work at a car wash. No.
No, we're sorry, Jason. We have Mrs. Shannon on the phone. Hello, Mrs. Shannon.
Aren't you a Grand Union Deli associate?
Are you a Grand Union Deli associate?
Yes, I am.
Well, John Martin, this is your job. Mrs. Shannon, you're right. Thanks for calling in to This Is Your Job. So, you're a Grand Union Deli associate. Well, please tell us a little about yourself.
I'm 22. I go to college part-time, work full-time at Grand Union. I started in the department 4 years ago.
Well, I think we're about ready to take questions about John's job as a deli associate. And that number again is 1-800-YOUR-JOB. Let's take our first caller.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm from Plattsburgh, New York. I'm new in the deli department and have a question about customer service.
Hi, Sarah. Now, what's your question?
What does the phrase making the grade mean?
The phrase making the grade is an easy way to remember the key points about customer service.
John, didn't you bring some videotapes that will help illustrate different aspects of the deli department?
Yes, I did. Let's take a look at this video that highlights making the grade in customer service, which begins with G, greeting the customer.
Hi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
How can I help you?
I'd like a pound of the smoked ham, please.
Okay, how would you like that sliced?
Oh, thinly, please.
Sure.
Greeting the customer, making eye contact, is part of building customer relations. R, reacting promptly to quickly process the customer's order.
There you are, ma'am. What else can I get for you?
I'd like a half pound of imported Swiss, please.
Okay, how would you like that sliced?
Very thin, please.
All right. How's this? Thin enough?
Oh, that's fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
A stands for attentive service, giving the customer undivided attention while at the deli counter.
There you go. Is there anything else you'd like?
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Frank.
Did you catch that MTV special on TV last night?
I'm busy with a customer right now. Can I talk to you at lunchtime, please?
Sorry, I'll see you at lunch.
Okay. Sorry. What was it that you wanted?
D, delivering the customer requests require you to know the product variety as well as ingredients and uses.
Here's your macaroni salad. Would you like something else?
Well, I was looking at two separate items that seem very inviting, but since I've never tried them, I'm really undecided.
Well, which items are you interested in? Maybe I can help you decide.
Well, I was looking at the ambrosia salad. Now, it looks very good, but I don't know what it is.
Well, for starters, it's a great salad because I made it myself just about 2 hours ago. Now, we make the salad in the store. And let's see, we use sour cream, crushed pineapple, sliced mandarin oranges, miniature marshmallows, and shredded coconut. Now, it has a sweet flavor, and it makes a great cool dessert. Would you like to try a sample?
Oh, no, thank you. But it does sound delicious. I think I will bring some home for the family. Let me have a pound and a half, please.
Sure.
E is for ending each transaction with a friendly thank you. Come again.
This should be plenty for 4 people. Is there anything else you'd like?
No, thank you. I think I have everything I need for today.
Well, I hope you enjoy everything.
I'm sure I will. And thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Thanks for shopping with us, and see you soon.
Following these guidelines is an important part of working well with the customer. Thanks for calling.
Okay, well, let's hear from our next caller. Hi, I'm Tom from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Yesterday when I was working in the deli department, a customer got very annoyed because we ran out of an item which was on special. How should you handle the situation?
Deal directly with the customer. Offer a rain check and apologize for the inconvenience. If you need further assistance, call your department manager. The customer will appreciate your effort to help them.
Okay, we have Anthony on the line from New Fairfield, Connecticut.
Hi, John. I wanted to know what percentage of store sales comes from the deli department.
The deli department is vital to your store success. It can generate as much as 4 to 6% of total store sales.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, John. This is Michelle from Putney, New Jersey. What are you majoring in?
I'm in my second year. I'm taking liberal arts.
Well, we have Nick on the line from Marietta, Georgia.
Hi, Barry. I watch your show every week, and I really think it's great.
Oh, thanks very much, Nick.
I'm glad I got through today because I'll be starting in the deli department next week, and I thought I'd call in to find out what I should wear.
Nick, wear neat pants, a shirt and a tie, and slip-resistant shoes. Your store manager will fill you in on the details.
John, we have a little surprise for you. It's time to travel down memory lane. We have someone on the line that was there on your first day in the deli department.
Hi, John. Remember your first day in the deli department?
Yes.
Do you know who I am?
No.
Let me give you another hint. I taught you how to operate the slicer machine.
Oh, Sally! Sally, how are you?
Great. I'm the manager of a deli department upstate.
That's great, Sally. I really appreciated your guidance when I was a trainee. And speaking of the slicing machine, I have a video to demonstrate how to use it for the benefit of those viewers and trainees who are just starting out.
Let's begin by introducing you to the important slicer parts which most slicing machines have in common, and the equipment you'll need for proper slicer operation and maintenance. If your deli uses a slicer that looks different than the one pictured, you should speak to your supervisor for instructions. On-off switch. This switch should always be left off when the slicer is left unattended, when it is cleaned, or any time that the slicer blade guard is removed. Electric plug. Before cleaning or removing the blade guard, you should always unplug the unit. This added safety measure will help protect you and your co-workers from being cut should the on-off switch be flipped accidentally. Blade. The blade is a razor-sharp knife that spins at a very high speed to slice the product. It is so sharp that it should never be touched, even when it is not spinning. Gauge or stop plate. This is a plate which moves back and forth, varying the thickness of the slices. Slice adjustment knob. The slice adjustment knob moves the gauge plate back and forth. It should always be set to 0 or below when the slicer is unattended, or when disassembling or cleaning the machine. This is known as closing the blade. Blade guard. This device covers the blade except the portion that is doing the actual cutting. Meat gripper. This pushes the product against the cutting blade. It lets you control the cutting action of the slicer without endangering yourself by coming close to the blade. Carriage tray. This device holds the product and feeds it to the blade. It is angled down so that gravity helps keep the product against the blade. Carriage tray handle or slicing knob. This is used to move the carriage tray back and forth for slicing. Receiving tray. This is the plate used to collect the slices. Slice deflector. This removable metal plate directs sliced product away from the blade and into your left hand. Waste receiving cup. This plastic cup collects product scraps, which are byproducts of the slicing process. Sharpening stones. The slicer is equipped with its own sharpening device. It consists of 2 stones, which when engaged, come into contact with the blade. They are stored under a protective cover when not in use. Mesh glove. The mesh glove is steel reinforced and should always be worn when cleaning and sanitizing the slicer. It gives you added protection against serious injury when working near an exposed slicer blade. Plastic serving gloves. These should always be worn on both hands whenever you are slicing or handling product for customers. They help protect the customer from invisible bacteria. You should change the gloves after each customer transaction, when you handle a different product, or when you leave the department. Cleaning solution. This is a diluted mixture of company-approved cleaner and water. For proper preparation, you should follow the directions listed on the container of concentrated cleaner. It is used to remove food particles and product residue from the slicer. Sanitizing solution. This is a diluted mixture of Grand Union or Big Star bleach and water. For proper mixture, follow the directions on the company sanitizer bottle. Sanitizer is specially formulated to kill invisible bacteria, which could contaminate the product and cause illness. Disposable paper towels. These are used to wipe the food contact surfaces. They should be discarded after each use. Use only Grand Union or Big Star approved paper towels. Cleaning tools. Nylon brushes, nylon scrubbing pads, and stainless steel scrubbing pads are used to remove heavy product residue from the slicer. Use only company-approved brands. Plastic water container. This is used to hold clean hot water for rinsing the cleaning solution off the slicer. Operating the slicing machine. Begin by putting on a set of disposable plastic gloves. Place the product ordered by the customer onto the carriage. Move the gripper into position by swinging it up and around from its storage position. Turn the on-off switch to the on position. Set the slice thickness by turning the slice adjustment knob to whatever thickness the customer requests. Put a piece of wax paper on the receiving tray on which to stack the slices. Begin the slicing by moving the carriage handle away from you and then toward you. Collect the slices with your left hand and then place them on the wax paper on the receiving tray. When you think you've sliced enough product to fill the order, turn the machine off by turning the slice adjustment knob to 0 and the on-off switch to the off position. Never leave a slicer that is switched on unattended.
And John, all of these steps are necessary for the safety of the associate using the machine and the associates in the department.
Thanks, Sally. It was nice hearing from you.
Well, let's take our next caller.
Hi, this is Joe from Suffern, New York. What do you do if you sliced more than the customer requested?
To avoid slicing more than the customer requests, do a trial weighing. A trial weighing is when you test weigh the sliced amount when you think it is below the amount requested. This helps to avoid over-slicing. After a while, you'll become familiar with the amount of slices needed to equal the requested amount. If the product is short of the order requested, slice more product until you reach the desired amount. If you've sliced over, ask if the overage is acceptable. If not, remove the product to get the exact amount requested. Tare weight is the weight of the empty container. Since we don't charge the customer for the containers, that weight must be input into the scale before weighing the product. Check with your manager for specific procedures.
So when I order my pound of potato salad, I don't get charged for the container that it's served in.
That's right. The weight of the container is not calculated into the price per pound.
Okay. Well, let's take our next caller.
Hi, I'm Jimmy from Hackensack. How's the procedure different in using a scanning or a non-scanning scale?
A scanning scale is one that generates a scannable price label. You would obtain the UPC or special code number from the price book and punch in that number. A non-scanning scale generates a price label but without a scannable UPC barcode. Some older scales do not produce any price labels at all. If this is the case in your store, you will have to weigh the item and mark the price on the package with a marking crayon.
Good question. Let's go to our next caller.
Hi, this is Dave from Lebanon, New Hampshire. Is there a big difference between cleaning and sanitizing?
Yes, cleaning is the removal of visible buildup in the department. It involves wiping, spraying with cleaning solution, using only company-approved cleaning products, and sweeping to remove product residue and debris. Sanitizing removes the invisible bacteria left behind after an area has been cleaned. Use a company-approved sanitizing solution for this purpose. Ask your department manager for instructions on how to mix it. Once the sanitizing solution has been used, You can allow the surface to air dry or wipe it dry using paper towels. Never use cloth towels because that would cause the spread of bacteria. Also be sure to use the hand dip during the day to keep hands sanitized. All surfaces which come in contact with food in the deli department must be cleaned and sanitized.
Okay, well, let's take our next caller.
Hi, I'm Nancy from Burlington, Vermont. Is it better to clean and sanitize throughout the day or at the end of your shift?
Good question. In-place cleaning, end-of-shift cleaning, and sanitizing are all necessary in maintaining a safe and attractive department. In-place cleaning of the slicer and countertops should be done every 2 to 4 hours. In addition, clean the slicer anytime you slice something that leaves behind a heavy residue. End-of-shift cleaning and sanitizing involves the sweeping of the floors, the cleaning and sanitizing of all utensils and equipment, and food preparation areas. Ask the department manager for the exact procedures for your store.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann from Paramus, New Jersey. How can we ensure that we're giving the customer their freshest product?
The freshness of the product you sell is protected by proper product handling and storage procedures. Let's talk about refrigerated products. They are stored in your deli cooler on racks. Never store products directly on the floor, even if it is packed in a shipping case. All containers must be covered completely with clear plastic wrap that fits tightly around the bowl. This is to maintain product freshness and prevent cross-contamination. Transfer all shipments of refrigerated product to the cooler immediately upon delivery in order to prevent spoilage. Mark each container or box with the date received. Position the product in the cooler so that existing stock is used first. The rule is first in, first out. Be sure to follow freshness codes as indicated in the operating manual.
Good question. Let's go to our next caller.
Hi, I'm Edwina from Milford, Pennsylvania. What's the proper temperature for the display cases?
I'm glad you asked, Edwina. Check both the display cases and the cooler to ensure that the temperature is between 34 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This is essential to maintaining product freshness. Hot foods in the warmer or soup kettles must be maintained at temperatures of at least 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This will prevent harmful growth of bacteria. Familiarize yourself with the locations of these thermometers and periodically check the temperature levels.
We have time for one final question.
Hi, I'm Tim. There's a lot to learn, isn't there? What are your plans for the future?
There certainly is a lot to learn. I'd like to work my way up to store manager.
Well, that sounds good. Thanks for joining us today, John. Hope you come back and see us again sometime.
Sure, I'd love to.
Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of This Is Your Job. I'm Barry King. Until next time.